What's up, everyone? This is part 2 of the Ninjas Recap. If you haven't seen part 1, then I don't know why you're really here. Go watch the first part. This recap will cover seasons 5 to 7, so let's get started. Ninjas, Season 5, Hands-on Dimensions. Episode 41, The Dimension Diamond. We see what happened with Ferris last season, and he ended up in a strange bluish realm. He comes across a diamond and decides to pick it up. But then, the realm begins to rumble. All of a sudden, weird blue people ambush Ferris and try to get the diamond from him. Ferris accidentally falls, and somehow, the diamond makes a portal and teleports him to the battle against Leonidas. In the blue realm, the people tell their ruler that without their diamond, their world will crumble. But then they figure out where the diamond was taken. We see the ruler of this dimension, and he says, "Find the diamond." A couple of months pass by, and the ninjas decide to get new haircuts, and that's how they get their new designs. Well, except Darius, because, his hair is perfect. All of a sudden, they are called to the middle of Nitropolis because a strange rift crack has appeared. As Stephanie's investigating the rift, the ruler of the blue realm pops out of the rift and attacks Ferris. He demands Ferris to tell him where the diamond is. He explains Ferris took the diamond from his world, and because of that, his world was destroyed. Ferris obviously feels guilty, and he says he will give him the diamond, but then Isaiah asks what he plans to do with the diamond. The man explains he will use this world to recreate his dimension and make everyone his slaves for revenge. The ninja realize they have a new villain on their hands, so they fight. As they fight, the man does something to Ferris. Ferris begins to grow a scar on the left side of his face. The ninja tie the man up and demand to know what he did to Ferris. He explains he put a curse on him. This curse took the form of a scar that will slowly kill Ferris from the inside. The man gets away in a portal he made himself, and he leaves. The ninja pick up Ferris and bring him to HQ. We see the blue man end up in a cave. He makes portals for his entire blue army to come through, and that's when he says, "The reign of the Realm Keeper will begin." Episode 42, Ninja Date. Yang sees Ferris, and he tells the ninja he has no clue what to do to heal him. The ninja come up with a plan to get a search party for the Realm Keeper. Later, Nathan comes in HQ and alerts the ninja he spotted the Realm Keeper talking to a mysterious hooded person. They were saying they were gonna have a trade at the Nitropolis casino tonight. So the ninja make a plan to go, but apparently only couples can go inside. So Darius and Eris, and also Steph and Raiden, decide to go. Later that night, the couples go in while the others are on lookout. The couples notice the shady man is already in the casino, but all of a sudden, the Realm Keeper pops up. Before he can make the trade with the hooded man, the ninja fight the Realm Keeper and the hooded man. In the fight, the Realm Keeper reveals his name to the ninja, but then he gets pinned down, so he teleports away, but he also teleports the hooded man away. The ninja weren't able to stop the Realm Keeper, but they wonder who was the identity of the hooded figure. Episode 43, Sky High. Yang says to the ninja in HQ they must protect the Dimension Diamond at all costs. Later, we see Neil looking around for the Realm Keeper and spots one of his men hijacking an airplane. So he calls the ninja over and they get a jet so they can fly after the plane. They catch up to the plane and fight off the man and the Realm Keeper's goons. The man, whose name is Zero by the way, says he got what he needed, but they might want to check on where the plane is heading. He teleports out and they see the plane is about to hit a tower. The ninja are able to pull it away from the buildings, but they aren't able to save themselves and they crash. Episode 44, The Chase. The ninjas survive the crash and they head back to HQ. Ferris tells the others that he will be going on a 3-day trip with his family, even though he has a scar that is slowly killing him. As him and his family are driving, they get attacked by the Realm Keeper's goons, and they steal his car's generator. So Ferris calls a ninja, and they chase after the goons. They aren't successful, however, and they get away. In the Realm Keeper's base, we see a machine he's been building, and he says the last thing he needs for it is the Dimension Diamond, and he knows just where it is. Mark notices outside the HQ a bunch of portals popping up, and realizes they are being ambushed. Episode 45, The Elemental Animals. The ninja are alerted and see the Realm Keeper and all his forces approaching their base. Mark and Neil go inside to guard the diamond while the others fight off the monsters. In the fight, even Nathan shows up and helps. Inside HQ, the Realm Keeper teleports in and fights Mark and Neil. Ferris jumps in the fight too, but gets shocked by his curse, allowing the Realm Keeper to get the diamond. The ninja are defeated, and while Ferris is knocked out again, all of a sudden, he gets a vision. He sees 6 animal eyes, and he tells the others he might know a way they can defeat the Realm Keeper and save himself from the curse. They must find their elemental animals. Episode 46, Masked Unknown. Ferris further explains his vision, and he says he thinks they can regain their elemental animals at the places they got their true potentials. The ninja are doubtful of this vision, but they don't have any other ideas to stop the Realm Keeper. Every elemental master has an elemental animal that can use their powers as well. The animal is a representation of the master. The first elemental animal was the Golden Lion. They have psychic powers and only show up when the user really needs it. The ninja decide to head to the Enchanted Forest first, but Mark sees that some of the Realm Keeper's goons are kidnapping people in Entropolis, so he decides to go and stop them on his own. As the ninja are in the Enchanted Forest, some of the Realm Keeper's goons show up and fight the ninja. As they are fighting, they accidentally anger the Enchanted Roots, and they attack the ninja. The ninja are about to be squeezed to death, but Neil's elemental animal spawns in as a green hummingbird, and it saves them. With Mark, as he's fighting the goons in Entropolis, the hooded man returns and fights Mark. Mark has the upper hand though, and as he's about to unmask him, a huge purple tentacle pops out of the sleeve and grabs Mark. Mark is now unsure of what this thing is, and that's when the monster unveils itself. It reveals to be the Mallord. Mark wonders how the Mallord survived the battle in Season 2, and the Mallord explains he can never be truly killed, but after the battle, he was weakened greatly. But apparently, the Realm Keeper promised the Mallord if he helped him, he would return the Mallord back to his original size and strength. The Mallord begins to squeeze Mark, but all of a sudden, Mark's elemental animal shows up as a golden dragon and defeats the Mallord. The Mallord gets away though, and now with his new dragon, Mark heads back to the others. Episode 47, The Return of the Elemental Temples. The ninja meet up, and Mark tells the others the Mallord is back. Now with 2 of the elemental animals, the team decides to split up. Darius and Steph go to the Thunder Mountain and the Freezing Forest, while Ferris, Isaiah, and Master Yang go to the Deadly Obstacle Course and the Great Volcano, and the others go to protect the city. Symphony gets her elemental animal that takes the form of a white and blue unicorn, and Darius gets his elemental animal that takes the form of a dark blue fox. Now with their elemental animals, they head off to meet the others. Episode 48, The Machine. We see a flashback about 20 centuries ago to where the Dimension Diamond landed in the Realm Keeper's realm, with a shard missing from it. We see the Realm Keeper as a human named Jerome, and his 2 friends, Victoria and Zero. They find the diamond and begin to corrupt Jerome, turning him into what he is today. He then uses the diamond to corrupt the entire world and everyone in it into this bluish world. We get back to the present and see what's happening with Isaiah, Ferris, and Yang. Isaiah gains his elemental animal, and it takes the form of a monkey. They get to the Great Volcano, but all of a sudden, Zero and Victoria are somehow there and fight them. As they're fighting, Ferris begins to experience the last stages of his curse. The scar begins to glow and corrupt his body. That's when Ferris hits the floor, unconscious. Yang and Isaiah believe they are too late, but that's when his elemental animal shows up as a red lion and saves Ferris. The curse has been healed, but the scar on Ferris' face is now permanent. As they're about to head to the others, a huge beam blasts out of the floor in Entropolis. Episode 49, Dimension Destruction, Part 1. The ninja meet up with their elemental animals, and the beam begins to corrupt their world in this weird bluish design. They all realize the Realm Keeper must be in the middle of the city, so if they can take him out, and get the diamond, they can turn their world back to normal. The ninja decide to split up again. Mark and Ferris go after the Realm Keeper, while the others go to help the people. The Realm Keeper uses the diamond's power to give the Mad Lord's size back, but then Mark and Ferris show up and fight them. In Entropolis, 70 defeats Victoria, and Darius defeats Zero. The ninja get called by Mark that they need backup, so they make their animals go help the people while they deal with the Realm Keeper and the Mad Lord. The Realm Keeper realizes he is outnumbered, so he puts the Dimension Diamond inside his chest and it powers him up. He sends the ninja except Mark through portals, but Ferris and his lion push the Realm Keeper through his own portal, sending him to the last remains of his old dimension. Episode 50, Dimension Destruction, Part 2. Neil, Isaiah, Darius, and Steph end up in alternate dimensions where their past villains succeeded. The ninja wonder how they can possibly get back, but then they look behind themselves and notice the portal they came in from was still open, so they go back through it. Fun fact, this was an old concept for the season, but for some reason I backed out on it. The ninja get back except Ferris and see the Mad Lord fighting Mark, so they help out. Meanwhile with Ferris, his elemental animal and the Realm Keeper are battling it out. And the Realm Keeper teleports Ferris to a different dimension, but that's when Ferris figures out his huge weakness, that his new portals take a while to go away. The Mad Lord is winning against the ninja, and he ends up knocking each of them out. With Ferris, however, he uses the Realm Keeper's weakness against him and wins. He gets a message from his elemental animal that they must destroy the Dimension Diamond to free their world. So the lion destroys it, and their dimension begins to go back to normal. So does the Realm Keeper and his goons. Now that their job is done, the elemental animals disappear, and will probably never be seen again. With Ferris, the realm he's in is about to fully collapse, so he offers to bring the Realm Keeper to his world, but he refuses. The Realm Keeper just wants Ferris to let him die there, so Ferris complies, and the Realm Keeper meets his demise. That rhymed. But before he goes, he apologizes for starting this mess in the first place. Ferris goes through the portal he came in, but finds all the ninja injured and defeated. All of a sudden, the Mad Lord shows up and knocks Ferris out. The Mad Lord says he would eat all of them up right now, but apparently, he wants them. 30 minutes later, Nathan and Master Yang go to where the ninja were last seen, but they are gone. Ninjas, Season 6, Rescue. Episode 51, Lost. It has been a whole year since the events of the last season, and the ninja are still missing. All of a sudden, Nathan, Yang, and Eris are alerted by Raiden that a bank robbery is occurring. They find these thugs in weird masks, and all of a sudden, Benjamin, Logan, Emerus, and Alan show up to help them. They tell Nathan and the others all the Elemental Masters also have been looking for the ninja for the past year, and they're all scattered around the world. After they beat the thugs, they decide to take their masks to see who it belongs to. All of a sudden, Ashes shows up, and she looks much bigger than she did last season. They all decide to put on the mask for fun, but when Nathan puts it on, a huge portal pops out from underneath them, and it sucks them all in. They all wake up in a dark, eerie place, and look over the mountain and see a horrifying world called the Blood Realm. Episode 52, The Blood Realm. They all realize what realm they are in. The Blood Realm is the world where the evil-hearted go when they die. They wonder how the mask even took them there, but then Nathan accidentally drops the mask into a bottomless pit. All of a sudden, someone shows up and says he can help them. Out from the shadows, the Mad Lord shows up, back in his small form. He says the ruler of this realm, Stan, can get them back home. And when they ask how they can trust him, he tells them Stan has the ninja. They wonder how the ninja even got here in the first place, and the Mad Lord confesses he's the one who took them there. Stan wanted them for an unknown reason, and the Mad Lord took them here for a deal, but Stan went back on it and made him small again. So now the Mad Lord wants his revenge. So Nathan, Eris, Astrid, Alan, Master Yang, Emerus, Logan, Raiden, and the Mad Lord, which we will call the rescue team, head off to Stan's fortress. They go into Stan's fortress and meet him for the first time. Stan seems very condescending, at first, and he says he can take them back home. Nathan demands to know where Stan put the ninja, and that's when Stan shows them the ninja in testing cells. Stan says he plans to turn them into his slaves and send them to the living world so they can destroy it. But he makes an offer. If they are able to find the shadow capsule in the tallest mountain in the Blood Realm, he will let them go. Nathan begins to get angry, and black mist begins to surround his body, but Yang calms him down and agrees to the offer. They are hesitant that Stan will keep his word, but they don't have any better ideas, so they head out into this unknown world. Episode 53 Journey. The rescue team traverse through many obstacles and end up flying on these weird white creatures that look very much like ghasts. As they're riding the ghast ripoffs, someone in goggles attacks Nathan and knocks him down on the ground. More people in goggles also show up and jump Nathan, but thankfully the rescue team helps out and defeats them. But it's not over. All of a sudden, a katana is thrown at Nathan's face, but it misses. The rescue team looks behind them to see someone in the same goggles but with a different mask and spiky hair. Episode 54 A New Face. The new face fights the rescue team and proves to be very agile. He defeats most of the rescue team, but as he fights Nathan, Nathan's hand begins to be surrounded in shadow and creates a huge shadow punch. Nathan punches the mysterious man right into a wall and his goggles fall off, revealing the man's scarred face. The man pins Nathan to the ground and demands to know why they are here. They explain what they are doing, and the man says they shouldn't have trusted Stan, because the shadow capsule is the only thing that can defeat Stan. They mention the masks, and that's when the man reveals he built the masks, and it's how he got here as well. He says he made 4 of them, and they only activate for the evil-hearted. Nathan begins to worry. He begins to think he hasn't gotten past his Lord Nathan phase. He begins to get surrounded in darkness again, but Yang helps him out. Emrys begs for him to help them, but he refuses, but after some convincing, he agrees. He says the 4th mask he made was taken to the same mountain as the shadow capsule, and he has a theory that maybe if a pure-hearted person uses it, it can reverse the effect and send them back home. That's when the rescue team solidifies their plan. They will go get the 4th mask and the shadow capsule, but instead of giving Stan the shadow capsule, they will use it against him. But it won't be so easy, because Stan is a god, so they must use the capsule as soon as they can. They will get the ninja, use the mask, and head back home. Before they head out though, the man reveals that his name is Kizato. Episode 55 Nathan Origin. We see a flashback to Nathan being born with Arya and his father. 3 years later, we see the moment when Arya turned against her family and her people. After that, Nathan's father knew Arya was going to bring war, so he had the idea to take Nathan to the Underland where he would be safe. But he couldn't join him because he had to help defend Sky Kingdom. So that's when Nathan and his father parted ways. Nathan wasn't told this, but his father died in the war against Arya and the Sky Gladiators. 6 years later, Master Yang found Nathan and decided to take him in. As Nathan stayed with Master Yang, that's when he got the idea to train Nathan to make him a skilled ninja. And then you know what followed after that. That's when Nathan wakes up after having a dream about the past. The rescue team are getting close to the mountain, so they head off. Episode 56 Split. We see another flashback, but instead it's for Kizato. We see young Kizato hiding from his father, but then his father finds him. We see his father beating him and torturing him. His father drops a knife right next to Kizato, and that's the moment when Kizato snapped. He grabs the knife and stabs his father over and over until he died. We go back to the present, and the rescue team end up getting separated by falling pits. The team traverse through their tunnels. With Nathan and Master Yang, Nathan apologizes to Yang for turning on him. Master Yang says it wasn't his fault, it was because of the darkness from the Mad Lord and the high expectations he gave to Nathan. The rescue team get out of the pit and reunite. The team are just about to arrive to the mountain, but to get there, they must get past Tartarus City. Episode 57 The Shadow Capsule. Kizato explains Tartarus City. It is where the most crazy people in this place reside, psycho killers, murderers, etc. All of a sudden, the rescue team get attacked by a familiar face, Leonidas. Leonidas makes his lion guards fight them, and during the fight, Nathan notices someone in the distance. The person begins to charge at Nathan, and then they realize it's Arya. Nathan's ready to fight, but then Arya hugs him. Arya apologizes to Nathan for all she did, and she tells him he's the best thing that has ever happened to her. Nathan forgives her, and Arya helps the others out and defeats Leonidas. Arya leads the others to the mountain and says there are two entrances for the Shadow Capsule and the Fourth Mask. So the rescue team decides to split up. Raiden, Ben, Emrys, Kizato, Yang, and Nathan go get the Shadow Capsule, while the rest go for the mask. The other team get the Fourth Mask quite easily, but with Nathan and the rest, as they try to go get the Shadow Capsule, a trap activates and the floor begins to crumble. Nathan is the last one to leave the room, and he falls into the bottomless pit. The rescue team believe Nathan is gone, but then we see Nathan injured in a dark pit. All of a sudden, he begins to hear Stan talking to him, and he tries to convince Nathan that his friends never cared about him, and he should join him. Nathan begins to get surrounded in darkness again, but Yang isn't there to help him. That's when Nathan's eyes begin to glow. Lord Nathan has returned. Episode 58, Blood Duel, Part 1. Now with the Fourth Mask and the Shadow Capsule, the rescue team head off to Stan's fortress. We get a backstory on Stan. In the beginning of the universe, Stan and another god created all the planets, the people, and dimensions. Eventually, they had the idea to not interfere with the lives of the people they created, but they wanted to at least carry on their legacy on their most prized planet, Earth. So they had two sons. The first child was the first golden ninja, and the other one was, well, I can't really tell you guys just yet. They let their children live their lives on Earth while they watched over their domains. Stan was eventually banished to rule over the Blood Realm by the other god for an unknown reason. The rescue team arrives at Stan's fortress and decide to split up. Aerith, Raiden, Master Yang, Astrid, and Alan go to find the ninjas' capsules and break them out, while the others go to fight Stan. During the battle, Stan is able to obtain the Shadow Capsule, and he says he knows the others are attempting to break the ninja out, and that's why he has a trick up his sleeve. We see the others arrive to the ninjas' capsules, but that's when Nathan shows up, but not the Nathan they know. Stan orders to fight them, and he obeys. Episode 59, Lord Nathan Returns, Part 2. The two fights are going on get real intense. In the fight with Stan, he wins, and is about to drop the Shadow Capsule in a bottomless pit. In the fight with Nathan, Master Yang is able to remind Nathan of who he truly is, and he's able to break free of Stan's control. Astrid finds the key, and before Stan can get rid of the Shadow Capsule, it disappears from his hand. Nathan shows up behind Stan with the capsule and the ninja. Episode 60, Nathan's Last Stand, Part 3. The rescue team and the ninja team team up and have an all-out brawl against Stan. During the fight though, Astrid is about to get stabbed by a rock, and that's when Neil jumps in front of it and takes the hit. Neil collapses to the floor and dies. Stephanie goes to retrieve Neil's body, and Mark and Nathan work together to battle Stan. In that fight, Nathan's able to use the shadow power to make a huge shadow form and almost defeat Stan. But Stan is able to find his weak spot and punches Nathan right out of his form. Even with all their strength, they cannot defeat Stan. And Nathan realized this, so he gets an idea. He gets all the ninja and the rescue team together and gives the fourth mask to Mark. He tells Mark to use the mask, but Kizato informs him that Stan will not let them leave so easily, and that's when Nathan says he will deal with him. Yang sees the shadow capsule in Nathan's hand and realizes what he plans to do. Yang tries to stop Nathan, but it is too late. Nathan makes a heroic sacrifice. Nathan grabs Stan and crushes the shadow capsule, trapping himself and Stan in eternal darkness. The entire fortress begins to crumble, so they all escape with the fourth mask and get back home. One day later, they have a funeral. for Neil and Nathan. In the funeral, they reveal a statue they made for Nathan. Nathan went from a lost boy to an evil villain to a hero. Kizato decides to head out, and Eros asks before he goes what he plans to do. He says he's going to go on a personal journey. The funeral ends, and about 3 months pass by, and we see a rift crack near Neil's grave. Misty green clouds begin to come out of the portal, and it says, "I'm free." Ninjas, Season 7, Haunted. Episode 61, Possession. In another dimension, we see glowing eyes in the midst of green clouds. We see the events of the last season, and after Nathan sacrificed himself, the misty clouds dimension begins to rumble, and a rift crack opens, leading to Earth. It enters through it, and it says, "Yang, I'm coming." In Intropolis, Ferris encounters a girl named Alice, who he knew from elementary school, but Alice decides to shove him aside and ignore him. Later, Yang talks to the ninja, and he explains to them they must train harder than they ever have before because after the Blood Realm incident, it shows that their enemies are getting stronger. He cryptically tells the ninja they have the potential to become as strong as the elemental gods. Who are they, you might ask? That's a story for another time. All of a sudden, someone shows up to HQ. The person reveals himself to be Neil, but Neil doesn't sound like himself. Neil takes off the hood and explains he needed their friend's body to find their location. This mysterious individual demands from Master Yang to give him his hat. That's when Master Yang realizes who has possessed Neil's body and refuses to give him the hat. Possessed Neil fights the ninja and uses Neil's elemental power against them. The ninja realizes after hurting him that he can heal himself with Neil's nature power. He can use abilities that Neil hasn't even unlocked yet. He defeats the ninja and follows Yang into their library. Possessed Neil and Yang fight, and Yang demands to know how he came back from the dead. Possessed Neil tells him how, and he says he needs his hat to resurrect himself at the Cavern of Life, and also his family that Yang took away from him. The ninja come back, and that's when Possessed Neil decides to try and separate himself from them. Smoke begins to spew from Possessed Neil's body, and all the ninja get sucked into the smoke. Episode 62, Monster Bash. Mark, Darius, and Ferris are sent to a jungle where a vampire is hunting them. The vampire is able to bite Darius and Ferris, and they both turn into vampires. They all attack Mark, but that's when he realizes that the world is an illusion, and breaks it with his light powers. Episode 63, Haunted Doll. Stephanie and Isaiah were sent to a creepy house with a living doll. More dolls pop out of the floor and chase after them. They eventually figure out that it's an illusion, and they're able to break out of it. Episode 64, Yin and Yang. Yang wakes up in a green, misty world, and all of a sudden, Possessed Neil pops up and fights Yang. Possessed Neil defeats Yang and gets his hat back. But then, Astrid shows up and gets it back. Possessed Neil tries to take out Astrid, but then, his body stops. Neil begins to fight the possession, but he isn't strong enough. Possessed Neil breaks the illusion, and they all get back to reality. Possessed Neil gets Yang's hat and runs off. The ninja demands some answers, and Yang just tells them they must head to Hongtown. Episode 65, Hongtown. Yang and the ninja head back to Legend Library, and he tells the ninja Yin is heading to the Cavern of Life, a place of creation and resurrection. The ninja asks, who is Yin? And Yang says, that is the man who has possessed Neil's body, and also his brother. He needed Yang's hat because to resurrect someone at the Cavern of Life, you need something that belonged to you when you were living. The ninja wonder why they couldn't have used his cavern to bring Nathan back. Well, that's when Yang tells them the catch to the Cavern of Life. If he resurrects himself, he will unleash the spirits of the spirit realm across the world. So Master Yang tells the ninja to pack up because they'll be taking a trip to Hongtown, where the Cavern of Life is, and also where Yang grew up. They go to ask Eris for a jet to fly there, and that's when we see her working on something that looks like a huge arm. They wonder what it is, and she says it's a secret, but it'll be very useful in the future. She also tells them she does not have a jet for them, so they can take the subway. So they do that and arrive to Hongtown. As they get out of the subway, they run into Kizato, and Ferris notices Alice is also in Hongtown too. Yang tells the ninja they need to meet a friend of his that can help them. They arrive at a huge palace and get to meet Kohai. Kohai tells the ninja the location of the Cavern of Life. It's in Fuji Mountain. Also, Kohai gives them something that might help if the spirits of the spirit realm are unleashed. The Racial Blades. Ancient blades that are able to kill the dead and can also destroy the portal to the spirit realm. Kohai allows the ninja to stay at his palace before they head off to stop Yin. Episode 66, Fire and Ash. All the ninja go out to explore Hongtown before they go to defeat Yin. Ferris runs into Alice again and finds out Alice is a news reporter in training, and she's in Hongtown for a job opportunity, but she's running late. So Ferris decides to give her a ride there on a skateboard. Stephanie and Astrid are looking at a dragon statue, and all of a sudden, Astrid begins to smell something and flies off. We see a flashback to Alice and Ferris in elementary school, and we find out Alice actually had a crush on him, and was going to send him a note confessing her feelings. But Ferris accidentally destroys her note, and Alice thought he did it purposely, so she never talked to Ferris again. Ferris gets Alice to a stop, and that's when Alice begins to remember how she used to feel about Ferris after seeing how he is. With Astrid, he was able to sniff out Neil's body and finds Yin in the forest nearby. Yin unleashes 3 spirits from himself, a werewolf named Razar, a doll named Daisy, and a Dracula named Cradula. Yin explains he brought them here because he knows the ninja are coming for him, so he needs backup to stop them. And when they ask what they will get in return, Yin says he will resurrect them. All of a sudden, they notice Astrid nearby and attack her. Yin tries to end Astrid, but then Neil begins to fight his possession again for a moment. Astrid is able to get away, and she heads to warn the others. Episode 67, Triple Terror. The ninja are called back to Kohai's palace, and that's when Astrid shows up and tells them about Yin. She didn't tell him, of course, because, well, she can't talk. The ninja head off to stop Yin, but they forgot the Racial Blades. They find Yin and his new monsters and fight them, but they find out they cannot hit his monsters since they're ghosts. Ferris goes after Yin, and he's about to knock him out, but then he tells Ferris he's only doing this because Yang killed his family. Ferris obviously doesn't believe this, and Yin says there's something Yang is hiding from all of you. Ferris is in shock, and Yin punches Ferris right in his gut, and they are able to get away. Ferris confronts Yang and asks him what happened to Yin, and that's when Yang decides to tell them the story of his biggest mistake. Episode 68, Yang, Origin. We flash back to 65 years ago, where Master Yang was not a master. Instead, a normal young adult. He wakes up and realizes he is late for Yin's class. He arrives and sees his brother teaching students how to fight. His class ends, and all of a sudden, Yin's wife, Haruhi, and his daughter, Eri, walk in. Later, Yang heads out to Kohai's palace, and Kohai asks Yang for a favor. He pulls out a Racial Blade, and asks Yang if he can see if the blade can actually send things to the spirit realm if they are slashed. He takes the blade and heads home with Yin and his family. Yang decides to put off doing Kohai's task for another day, and heads to bed. Later that night, Yin asks Yang to go to a bar to drink. Yang decides to join him, and makes sure not to wake up Haruhi and Eri. As Yang gets out of the house to join Yin, he accidentally bumps the candle, and he begins to light the floor on fire, but Yang doesn't notice. As the two brothers are at the bar, this is when Yin gives Yang the idea of becoming a teacher like himself. The next morning, Yin and Yang head back home and see the whole house reduced to ash and rubble. Yang notices the candle and realizes he caused the fire. Yin finds out and loses it. He tries to kill Yang, believing he killed them on purpose. Yang finds the Racial Blade he brought and defends himself by slashing Yin with it. Yin begins to glow green and poofs away, getting sent to the spirit realm. Yang takes Yin's hat and staff and decides to honor his legacy by becoming a teacher just as good as Yin was. Not long after, Yang decided to move to Nitropolis so he can start on a clean slate. Ever since that day, Yang has never told anyone about that day. After hearing the story, the ninja are unsure if they can even trust their own master anymore, but they don't have much time to talk about it because Yin is getting away. Ashton is able to fly all of them up to Fuji Mountain and encounter Yin and his monsters once more. They fight, and Yin is able to find the opening of the Cavern of Life. Yin decides to ditch Neil's body and heads into the cavern with his monsters. The ninja go to check on Neil and realize it's just his corpse. The ninjas decide to split up. Mark, Stephanie, and Yang will go after Yin in the cavern, while the others will take Neil's body to Kohai and get the racial blades so they can have a chance against the monsters. Episode 69, Spirits Awaken, Part 1. Isaiah, Ferris, Ashton, and Darius arrive back at Kohai's palace and place Neil's corpse on a bed. Meanwhile, in the Cavern of Life, Mark, Stephanie, and Yang find the core of the cavern, but then get captured by Yin's monsters. Ferris realizes that they need to evacuate the town just in case Yin succeeds, so he finds Alice and he asks her to alert the town on the news about what may occur. So she does that and the town begins to prepare to leave. Mark, Steph, and Yang are able to escape from the grasp of the monsters and battle Yin before he can resurrect himself, but they aren't successful, and with the core of the cavern and Yin's hat, he begins to bring himself back from the dead. The second he awakens, Neil awakens. Neil runs outside, and the others follow, and see Fuji Mountain's peak explode, and ghosts begin to fill the air. Episode 70, Spirits Awaken, Part 2. The ninja and Hongtown decide to divide and conquer. Ferris, Darius, and Isaiah go across the city to protect the people with the racial blades, while Neil and Asher go off to Fuji Mountain to destroy the portal. Now with his body back, Yin uses 2 items from his daughter and his wife and begins to resurrect them. His monsters become mortal and try to kill Yang, Steph, and Mark. Ferris finds Alice about to get attacked by monsters and he helps her. But then Kizato shows up and also helps him out. Neil shows up to the Cavern of Life and is able to send the monsters back to the spirit realm. Neil fights Yin, and Yin mentions Neil's mother, which gets him angry. And Neil knocks him into the floor. Neil is about to slash the portal, but then Yin begs for him not to, because he just wants to see his family again. So that's when Neil makes a huge decision. He decides to give the blade to Mark and tells him to slash the portal. Neil takes a sword and stabs Yin in his heart, killing him, but right after, does the same to himself. Mark closes the portal and all the ghosts disappear. We see Yin in Ninja's version of heaven, and he finally gets to reunite with his family. Neil, now back in the afterlife, is called by a bright light. They say because of his selfless action, they decide to give Neil a second chance at life. Neil comes back to life one final time and reunite with the ninja. Before they leave the Cavern of Life to join the other ninja, Yang looks back at his hat, and he decides to leave it. Now with Hongtown saved, the ninja head back to the Metropolis, and Alice and Ferris begin to grow feelings between each other. Neil heads back to his father's house and have a heartwarming reunion. Before the end of the season, however, we see a strange-looking spaceship in the middle of space, and they speak about heading to their next target, Earth. And that is the end of the Ninjas recap. Sorry if some things were a bit confusing, because I couldn't add in a few minor details. I do plan one day to make a whole history video about this series, so it all connects, you know? Season 8 has 9 episodes ready, and they will upload throughout the days. Thanks for watching, everyone, and stay tuned for more recaps in the future. Bye-bye!